It's time for That Was the Woke That Was with Andre Walker.
Woo! Hello and welcome to That Was the Woke That Was, the topical quiz show that goes through all of the wokest stories of the week. And I guarantee absolutely no snowflakes allowed. On my team tonight, I've got Liam Halewood and Lacey Butcher and Danielle Nicholls and the lovely, the beautiful Pete Barnes. Let's get this party started. So, OK, first of all to Danielle and Pete. According to a new poll, Harry and Meghan are now less popular than Prince Andrew in the United States of America. Is this true or false?
Oh, God, this couple. I'm not being funny. I don't think I've spoken about these two any more than I can. I'm just done with them. I'm physically done with them.
Can you please leave them alone, their PR department says?
Yeah, Christ. I wonder how much their PR agents are actually being paid.
They've issued a press release demanding that every newspaper in the country stop talking about it.
But the thing is, that's something that they would do. And it comes as no surprise, this story, given... You know, you had the South Park episode that aired last week and you know, all the fallout from that. It's absolutely incredible just how far they've fallen in such a short amount of time, particularly in the United States.
I mean, I'm not being funny, though. It's a bit unfair to be less popular than Prince Andrew. I mean, look, whatever you think about whatever Prince Andrew did, look, he did befriend a sex offender, go and stay in his house, right, and then paid people off to stop slagging him off. I mean, look, it is a bit of a different league to being a bit of a knob.
Yeah.
But that's it now. They're in the same gang.
Yeah. They're in the same gang.
I'm not being funny, Lacey. Who would you rather hang round with, Prince Harry or Prince Andrew?
That is surprising.
The moment of pause. The pause.
Yeah. How could you pause, Harry?
I'm sorry. That is not a difficult question. One's a war hero, and the other one's Jeffrey Epstein's best mate.
But they're just irritating as anything else. But I think the reason why they have slipped so poorly, especially in America, where let's be frank, when Meghan Markle originally came over here, the Americans were thrilled. You know, they saw it as an American princess. It was a bit of a fairy tale come true for them, obviously not having a monarchy over there. But I think the difference in this case is simply Prince Andrew has just kept his head down and gone onto the radar, whereas we cannot escape Meghan Markle and Harry. We cannot for the life of us. They both know that they're annoying as anything and they've done wrong, but one is seeking fame and the other one is just doing what all the royals should be doing, keeping their head down and carrying on.
I mean, it's amazing, actually, Liam. You're quite into celebrity culture. It's amazing the way that, first of all, they were feted by all the press and all these celebrities, Oprah Winfrey, George Clooney, and now they just seem to be getting shunned.
Yeah, do you know what? I've always seen Meghan Markle as like a glorified Kardashian. I think she's always wanted fame, she's always wanted power, and she got the ginger one, didn't she? And she took him from our country, and she was like, and I just thought to myself, hands off the ginger one, he's mine. I would have made a better wife. I would have.
I'm not in favour of exporting gingers by any stretch of imagination.
I've got many ginger friends, by the way. I'm so sorry. I wasn't being gingerphobic before you start. I'm not having it.
Let me tell you, gingerphobia is the one phobia you can get away with nowadays, isn't it?
No, you can't. I've got a ginger friend and she walks around Blackpool going, it's gingerphobic. She goes mad all the time.
Do you know, there's many people who don't know the city of Liverpool, but you've got to tell them the truth, that people in Liverpool walk around in their pyjamas with their rollers on a Saturday shopping, don't they?
Yeah, and everyone's name's Sonia, another ginger. Yeah, so there you go.
They've got that in common with Ukraine. Look, I mean, should we still be talking about them? Because there's going to be people, Danielle, who watch this show who say, why do you always start with Harry and Meghan every week? And the answer is because they're just around, you know.
They just keep giving us better and better stuff, don't they? They just don't let go. It's brilliant. The South Park stuff was just fantastic. We'd spoke about that weeks before, didn't we, when we said, please, just leave me alone. Anyway, by the way, I'm releasing a book. I mean, it's so ridiculous.
I thought the really disgraceful thing was when Meghan Markle said that she wanted a significant role in the Duke of Edinburgh's funeral. Now, look, that wasn't me. I wasn't there. Her press spokesman spoke to newspapers around the UK saying she demanded a role. Now, look, when my mother died, my niece helped out, but she didn't demand a significant role, right? And apparently the significant role was she wanted her letter on the top of the coffin. The bloke had said about her, allegedly, and she's worse than Wallis Simpson, at least Wallis Simpson could keep her mouth shut. So I mean, not exactly the most fulsome support you've ever heard.
You find, don't you, in funerals, like the biggest argument is who's going in the car behind. That's about it, really, isn't it? Like,
It's a bit awkward for that family who's going in the car behind at any funeral now, isn't it? Let's face it, no one wants to get in the back of the car.
My old priest said of funerals, where there's a will, there's a family.
And there's definitely a will in that family.
That's why we've booked him. It's like Friday night in Blackpool.
It is.
OK, so according to a new poll, is Prince Harry and Meghan Markle less popular than Prince Andrew in the United States of America? True or false?
It's true.
True.
It's absolutely true! OK, so Manchester's chief fire officer has said the term fireman must be banned because it's sexist. Is it true or false? Well, they fire them.
Well,
Fire them.
That's exactly
well, to
what
be
I
honest,
got,
I know
fire them.
we've got to the fish of them, and I know all about that, and you know, and it is ridiculous. And to be honest, I've always thought firemen and firewomen were called firefighters, so I just don't get the whole thing. And,
Very American.
well, it's very American.
Very American, that
I know.
firefighters.
You know what? If we had an alarm, we'd sound it. It's firemen, not firefighters. We're not starting down that. I'll tell you what we had last week. We had him talking about movies. No, films. Right, and I'm sorry, there will be a second series of this. There won't be a second season. we're not getting into any of that.
All right, I'll calm down.
Well, let me ask you this. Would you call them a policeman or a police officer?
I'd call them
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I'd call them a complete failure who can't deal with crime, but are obsessed with arresting people on Twitter. But that's just me, right?
But I mean, this is just one of those things that we're just going to see time and time again. I mean, how many stories have we covered similar to this on this show?
As I say every week, some of the true stories, some of the fake stories become true a few days later.
I know.
Everyone's laughing, going, this is ridiculous. And then I literally think there are people who watch this show and go, that's quite a good idea. Yeah, let's ban this and get rid of that.
How awful that this show might be inspiring some of the stories that we're going to read about.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't surprise me at all. But no, with this story, it just frustrates me. It really does, because there is not a need for this. There's simply not a need. Why are we confusing the English language further than it needs to be? The chap who, I've forgotten his name, that came out and said this, it says it's discriminatory and sexist. Yeah. No, it's not.
Yeah,
How in any way are you going to get offended by that?
When I used to be in local government, people would go, you can't call me a chairman, call me a chair. Well, it's more insulting to call you a chair, isn't it? I mean, at least a chairman's a human. Exactly. Right? A chair's an inanimate object. It's like going, I'm going to call you a piece of wood. Right, OK, oh, lovely, thanks for that.
Yeah.
Now, I know you are on occasions, but we're not.
No, and for me as well on that as well. Do you know what I'm sick about here and rewriting history? Who wants to rewrite history? Don't we teach history in schools? Isn't that what we do? So stop trying to rewrite the history and let's just move on with the future. Change the future, do what you want, but stop going back and rewriting history. It's a joke now.
Liam, this is the first time you've been on this show. Look, you are not somebody who's a traditional right-winger. You're in the entertainment industry. Actually, you're somebody who I've always thought just speaks for people who think a lot of this is stupid, but are fundamentally on the left of politics.
Yeah, for me, listen, I won't say who I vote or whatever because
because it's Labour. Yeah, because it's Labour.
Yeah,
right, let's just be honest.
But
He's not making it out the building.
Was red,
just think about it. A Labour voting Scouser, what will they think of this?
Leave me alone, you. No, it is. You know what? I just want to stick up for what's right, and what's right. Everyone can have an opinion, and they can do what they want in this world. And you know, it's just going too far. That it is just going too far. There's got to be a line. Just got to stop.
Do you think the fact that people are so obsessed with language is evidence that they don't want to engage with the real issues? Because for me, I mean, I look at the Qatar World Cup, where allegedly 7,000 people died. Whether they were all slaves, I don't know, but certainly there were problems with working conditions. And you hear all these people in university obsessing about what happened in Virginia 200 years ago, which was terrible, and not engaging with modern slavery. And you just think, isn't this just a great opportunity for overprivileged public school white kids to start kicking off?
It's one of them situations. It's hard because you want to give people the right to their opinion, and they can call themselves an LGBTQIA+. They can call themselves.
How many of those are you?
You'll find out after the show.
probably G and a B, I reckon.
G and a B. I'm not bi. I'm on the other bus. That's it. No be with me.
So L it is then. But on the serious note, I mean, when we're talking about having all these different genders and all that, I just think people should just be themselves. I don't understand why you have to be so pigeonholed.
And that's what I mean. We're pigeonholing ourselves. I mean, Pete, you must agree a little bit. We're giving ourselves labels. We fought to get rid of the label.
Well,
we're giving ourselves more.
He doesn't like the label pie eater. But being from Wigan,
Every week.
No, by the way, I will tell everybody, Pete privately complained to me that his mum, his dad and his grandmother watch this in Wigan and hate the way I insult Wigan. That is literally red rag to a bull. That is the worst mistake.
Ammunition.
Possibly
I'm not
made.
saying you're a pie eater from Wigan. I say it every time when I gig in Wigan. It's great, and I love a pie. So
You are what you are. Embrace it.
yeah, high five.
I am what I am.
Are we allowed to say sister?
Oh, there you go.
Companion, I think is the right word. OK, so has Manchester's fire chief said that fireman is sexist?
Yeah, I believe so.
I believe it in this day and age.
Yeah.
I really do. True.
True.
It is absolutely true! Now this is the moment of the show that I've been waiting for, because normally I do the scores, but from now on, we're going to have Elvis Schmelvis, the world's only full-time Jewish Elvis impersonator, to do the scores. So here we go. Drum roll, please. What the scores? Elvis Schmelvis.
Can understand me when everything I do is wrong. You give me love and consolation. You give me strength to carry on. And you're always there to lend a hand in everything I do. That's the wonder of you.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. Well, Andre, the scores. Lacey's team has 28 points.
Yes.
And Peter's team, unfortunately, has only 12 points.
Whoa! Well done,
There's all to
Elvis.
play for. Thank you very much. Elvis is leaving the building. Thank you, baby.
Yep, you don't get that with Nadine Dorris. Okay. Cambridge University has gone fully vegan following a vote by students. Is it true or false?
Well, it's Cambridge, so probably true.
Isn't it normally the University of Stirling?
Stirling, yeah, every week.
Done these things.
But no, so I know a little bit about this. It's actually kind of a nationwide kind of pressure group that's involved in all the different universities. And it's to do with this animal extinction, which is the shoot-off from Extinction Rebellion. And it's about trying to bring meat products off campuses. But Cambridge actually have got a little bit of form on this, because I think it was 2016 they got rid of beef and lamb already from the kind of the canteen menus and things like that. So they've been doing it for quite some time. But
somebody told me that these public institutions are really quite keen on this because it's really cheap. I mean, when I used to organise political dinners and somebody would say they're a vegetarian, you'd think, that's fantastic, that's only 12 quid. Well, it would have been 25. And we're still charging them the same price.
Well, I bet there's a strong argument for that. But what
No,
I
there
find,
isn't.
Yeah. No, I mean, it shows from the kind of canteen budgets and stuff. But what's interesting is the way that these kind of groups campaign about it is they make it a big moral issue. Like, it's like, oh, don't you care about your kids' future and stuff like that? And I'm like, oh, just be quiet, will you? And just have a hamburger, it won't kill you.
Yeah. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I always say I love animals. They're delicious. I'm an animal lover. I really am. I'm an animal lover.
But it's ridiculous because it's pigeonholing all the time.
Oh, pigeon, I'd have that.
Yeah, we'd have that.
Do you know what really upsets me? The way that His Majesty the King owns all swans and is allowed to eat them. I'd love to have a crack at a swan.
Well, you can't.
Wait, who's going to stop you?
Well, it's a criminal offence to steal
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah,
king's...
you can't
You
touch
can't steal
that.
the king's bird. You're not allowed to do it. You're not allowed to steal the king's bird. It's happened before and ended badly.
For me, obviously, you're not. I mean, there's going to be horny university students in there. You're not going to. There's going to be meat eaters in there, isn't there? Somewhere along the line.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
What kind of birds are you referring
I know,
to?
yeah. Well, I'm in Liverpool now.
I cannot believe you've been performing in Blackpool for far too long.
Since I was 16.
We're not having jokes like that. But actually, on the serious note, look, isn't it unfair to deny this choice to people?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we were talking a couple of weeks ago, and we did make a bit of a joke about it, but in Edinburgh, where they banned meat from lots of places, but one of them was old people's homes. And I always imagined, like, on Burns Night or Hogmanay, you wouldn't actually be able to have a haggis if you're 80 years old and in the twilight of your life.
There's nothing wrong with eating a lot of vegetables. It's great, eat your vegetables. But a lot of the stuff that say, like, a vegan beef burger or a vegan sausage roll are full of sugars and fats and processed. They're not actually always good for you.
I'll tell you what, I've got a very good friend of mine called Donald. He's in politics, and he had his 40th birthday party. He had this dinner, and he said on the invitation, if you have a genuine, in capital letters, a genuine dietary requirement, please let me know. And then he said, NB, veganism and vegetarianism is a lifestyle choice, not a genuine dietary requirement. And in any case, there will be vegetables on the plate, just eat round the meat. which I thought actually was the perfect response.
That would have been what my grandma would have said. She'd have said exactly that. Well, there's veg on there, you be right.
Yeah,
No, you
eat round it.
Do you know what your grandmother would have said? Ma, you know, we only got a tangerine to smack round the head at Christmas. We're happy kids. We're happy kids. You could leave your door open. Yeah, of course you could, because there was nothing in the house.
Sealed.
I tell you what, though, with this story in particular, and that's where I think it differs from the Scotland story, because I think the Scottish one, banning meat in hospitals and nursing homes, I think that's horrific, utterly horrific. Especially when you do have haggis, which is made entirely of, like, what is it, pig's intestines and stomach and God knows what.
Oh, no,
sheep. Sorry, sheep.
I love a haggis. All it is it's lamb's lungs and lamb offal mixed with beef fat, stuffed in a sheep's stomach and boiled.
Yeah.
What is not to love? I'll say one thing about the Scots. As they always say. Every single society in the world has an offal sausage as part of its normal food. It's just the Scots are honest enough to admit what they make theirs out of. Which I think is a reasonable comment. Because I will tell you, I ate bangers at school in the 80s and they were not good, whatever was in them.
Well, just the Scots to take all the worst meat parts of a sheep and amalgamate it into that.
I'm convinced that every Scottish food starts as a bet. I bet you wouldn't eat a fried Mars bar.
Yeah.
Oh, let's have a go. Would you eat a sheep's stomach? Aye, let's have a go.
But if you have haggis in Scotland, it's not... I know this sounds ridiculous, but it is not like eating it in England. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I lived in Scotland for about 3 years, and they brought it out, obviously, haggis and tatties, and it tastes just so nice and so much better. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to eat that. It's going to be horrible. And it was delicious.
Well, I've created a bit of a biohazard at our London Bridge studios, because a few weeks ago I bought a haggis and literally the crew refused to allow me to use it for filming, and I left it in the fridge and I've completely forgotten about it. So about a month ago the haggis was there, and I think if you open the fridge door now you can have a conversation.
Does haggis actually go off, or is it just off as it starts? You know what I mean? After everything that's going, do you know what I love more than anything with haggis? Black pudding. Yeah. But we won't go into that.
No.
Black.
Yeah.
Back to the question. Cambridge University, has it gone fully vegan as a result of a vote from the students?
It's true.
It's absolutely true! What's the scores? Elvis Schmelvis!
Well, so one for the money, two for the show. Three together, heady down, go cat, go up, but don't you step on my suede shoes. Woo! Right, okay. Peter's team has got 68 points. And Lacey's team has got a massive 92 points.
Oh, well done. Thank you, Elvis Schmelvis.
Thank you very much. Leaving the building.
That was The Woke That Was. Continues after the break. Welcome back to That Was The Woke That Was.
Sam Smith, here we go.
Here we go.
Seatbelt on, strapped in.
Sam Smith has threatened to cancel his Manchester gig. You know where this is going. Has threatened to cancel his Manchester gig until the city is renamed Themchester. Is it true or false?
Well, I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah.
I mean, it is Manchester, isn't it? And if we're going to change everything to do with they'd be changing Man, I Feel Like a Woman by Shania Twain soon. Do you know what I mean? It's getting that...
What would it be like this? Man, I feel gender fluid.
Who's that impression?
It's better than my Britney Spears, which was...
Oh, no.
Trust me, this is as good as it gets.
As I've often said, Her Majesty the Queen and Ken Livingstone is the same impersonation.
I mean, Sam Smith was here the other day on your show, wasn't he?
was.
Yeah, he
So
was,
why did you not ask him yourself?
Well, what we did was we popped him.
We did.
Well.
Did a beautiful rendition of 99 Black Balloons, I believe.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. But no, this story kind of threw me off because it was reported to be a true story throughout mainstream media until you actually did some digging, and the story actually came from a satirical Irish website. That just did it for the kicks and giggles. But this just shows you how ridiculous these stories are, that they can be picked up and believed and get everyone in a frenzy because it's a joke. How awful is that?
But, you know, serious news outlets, and I include this one within that, you know, these stories, because we are so used to ridiculous wokery, we do occasionally report stuff that somebody's literally made up, because actually it's just impossible, because normally you'd sit there and you go, oh, look, it can't possibly be true that the fire officer of Manchester has said firemen are sexist. Yeah. And then you go, oh, yes, it is. And so stuff that's totally ludicrous can get through the tracks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, thank goodness for this show then, because we call it out.
I'll get it wrong sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, even silly stories like that as well. Listen, Sam Smith knew exactly what he was doing. It was a big publicity trail. Even saying Nemchester and things like that, he knew exactly what.
If things are changing in a drastic way, which arguably is not only inaccurate but quite destructive, we need to call it what it is, and it is ludicrous.
See, actually, Lacey, I'll tell you why I strongly agree with that, because if we say nothing on shows like this and on channels like this, all that happens is in schools kids get indoctrinated and it doesn't get called out. And, you know, when people say, I don't understand why this show continually moans about these people, you know, if we went off the air and Piers Morgan stopped talking and Jeremy Kyle and Hartley Brewer and Mike Graham and all the rest of them stopped talking, all that would happen is these lefties in schools would continue to do it without us knowing.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Yeah, and we get to the point won't we, as well, when kids are being born of today, these parents who are them and them, are they going to just say, well, my child's are them? When they come, you know, when they first come out, and not let the child have the opportunity to believe in what they want to believe in and choose a gender for themselves. You know, we will get to that, and it's up to kids of today what they want to do.
Look, you know, you're a mother of 5. Unfortunately, sadly, one of your children died, but you've got both boys and girls. Yeah. You know, they enjoy indulging whatever it is to be a girl or whatever it is to be a boy, right?
Exactly, and we've always had tomboys. You've always had girls who've been quite boy, and you've always had boys that are a little bit girlier, a little bit feminine. We need to stop putting people in boxes. We need to see that they're just children and just chill out a little bit.
Yeah, but I think the thing about tomboys, to be fair, you know, there's a long time in our history, girls were excluded from things like football. Now, obviously, your husband's a football manager.
And my daughter plays football.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think that is clearly sexist. But then to say that just because girls like My Little Pony and boys like Meccano, suddenly that makes them in some way evil.
It's ridiculous. I remember my little boy, he wanted a pram. He was adamant he wanted a pram and a dolly because he wanted to push it round, and he'd have been about 2 or whatever. I bought him a pram. Like, chill out.
Sam Smith, has he threatened to cancel his gig in Manchester until the city is renamed Themchester?
I know that's false, actually. Yes, that's false.
It's absolutely false. Over to Elvis Schmelvis.
We're caught in a trap. I can't walk out because I love you too much, baby. Okay. Peter's team has got a massive 480 points.
Oh, yes.
However, Pip to the post is Lacey's team with 542.
Hey, well done, Elvis.
We can go on together with suspicious minds. Thank you, baby.
OK, calling a man bald is sexual harassment, according to an employment tribunal. A judge said it's the same as discussing women's breasts.
Well, to be honest, I love being bald, especially on the other bus, because there's nothing to pull.
Yeah.
So I love it. I don't feel at all offended by that whatsoever. I think bald is sexy. I think dad bod's sexy. I just think it's sexy. And like we said on this show, some things just go too far, don't they?
But also, look, at the end
Can't
of the
help baldness.
At the end of the day, you're an incredibly well-turned-out bloke. You're a good-looking guy, right? Basically, you know, if I deny you're bald, I'm just talking nonsense, aren't I?
Yeah, if someone said to me, you're bald, you would go, so, you know.
Yeah.
It's like if someone said to me, you're gay, you would say, so, you know, it's one of them things. Some people just can't help baldness unless they've got £2,000. Sorry, you've still got beetroots here. Sorry, unless they've got £2,000 and they can go to Turkey. And let's face it, people haven't got 2,000. So if you're bald, just be bald.
By the way, something I've always said. Never, ever take medical advice from a political commentator. So if you are considering going for a hair transplant in Turkey, my advice is don't take any notice of us.
Well, we're not going to be with the NHS soon anyway, are we? So it doesn't matter, so go wherever you want.
It's OK. Is calling somebody bald sexual harassment?
Not in my case, no.
Yeah, but it's a question.
No.
You know, it's like the remedial class, isn't it? I just got no idea. Right, come on. Is the question
True or false? I believe it's true, but it's total tosh.
It's absolutely true. OK. Robin Williams.
Yes.
Classic comedy Mrs. Doubtfire has been banned by the BBC after complaints from trans activists. Is it true or false?
Oh, good God.
Yeah.
I really hope this isn't true.
I do.
But I'm sick to death of this lobby or any other lobby trying to ban everything left, right and centre. I'm just just sick of it. Because you've had the Roald Dahl thing, we've now got the Ian Fleming thing. It's absolutely crazy.
By the way, Pete,
after another.
I think this Roald Dahl thing is nonsense for the following reason, because Puffin Books have said that they will now continue to publish the old Roald Dahl, but they're publishing the new as well. Now, forgive me for being a conspiracy theorist, but I wonder which will be more prominent in bookshops, which will be more prominent on Amazon, which will get the advertising revenue behind it, and which of the two of these, the new version that's politically correct or Roald Dahl's version, will be quietly dropped in 18 months.
Well, that's very true, which is why I always say to people, if we're really going to try and challenge this woke stuff, find the original and buy the original.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we've got people like ourselves who are against all this woke stuff. We've got to start kind of voicing our opinions and using our money to do it. And that's eventually how you get these big companies
There's
to
that famous
follow
film, and look, and at the end of the day, there's the famous, is it Catch-22 with the name of the dog, which I won't repeat. And look, at the end of the day, it was the Dan Busters, was it? Yeah, the Dan Busters. So effectively, look, the name of the dog was offensive, there's no doubt about it. But when Channel 4 attempted to re-edit the film without the dog, the problem is the dog's integral to the story. Right? So when the dog wasn't there, it just became a meaningless thing.
Yeah, my favourite thing on this one is that particularly with Roald Dahl, is they're doing it because of words like fat are supposedly offensive. But these are the same people that can tell you that a 4-year-old can tell you what gender they are.
Has Mrs. Doubtfire been banned as a result of trans activists?
I don't
I'd
think
say
so.
no.
I'm going to say false.
Yeah.
It's absolutely false! Is that right? OK, what's the scores, Elvis Schmelvis?
Oh, well, bless my soul, what's wrong with me? I'm itching like a man, I'm a fuzzy too. My friends say I'm acting wise as a bug, I'm in love. I'm all shook up, hey, yeah. OK, it's neck and neck at 8,400 points each.
Hey!
That was The Woke That Was. Continues after the break. Welcome back to That Was The Woke That Was.
Woke scientists have said people should refer to women as egg-producing people. Is it true or false?
Yeah, I mean, it's worse than that because the men are sperm producing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, we're talking about the women again. But where's the men in that and things like that, you know? So for me, I just think it's such an insulting word, an egg-producing...
Awful.
I mean, an egg-producing woman or whatever. Oh, we can't say woman, it's, you know. So for me, I just think we're going back to what Danielle's just experienced in the press as well. An egg-producing woman. I mean,
it's ridiculous, isn't it?
Danielle, is there an element here of discrimination? Because I have to say, I spoke to a very good friend of mine who's just had a daughter.
Yeah.
And she feels, she's concerned, now rightly or wrongly, she's concerned that her daughter will have fewer opportunities than what she had. Because when you're talking about the field of sports, when you're talking about potentially in politics or whatever, those female quotas or female divisions will now be filled up with people who are trans.
This worries me because I do believe that it's women that are losing out the most in all of this.
Yeah.
and I don't want to be controversial and I don't want to upset anybody, but I do feel that, you know, women have fought for their rights through the ages, and it feels like we can't even have that anymore.
But see, here's the interesting point. You and I present on a Saturday night together. You and I come from completely different backgrounds. You're in the entertainment industry. I come from politics, right? So for somebody like you to express that concern doesn't mean you're some crazed right-winger who's a member of the Tory party. I think you even voted for Jeremy Corbyn, right? But but the point I'm making is you are in that respect an ordinary Northern Labour voting mum, right?
Yes,
and to be concerned in that way shocks me.
Yeah, I am. It worries me, and it worries me because it's the thing with the guy in prison, isn't it, in Scotland? It's just absolutely terrifying.
You can't have haggis.
Yeah. It's absolutely terrifying, and it's terrifying when you think about it.
Oh, agreed. One thing I find particularly concerning about this story is its science. This is supposed to be objective fact and truth. This isn't like, you know, you're allowed an opinion. This is supposed to be cut and dry, like black and white, as it were. And when they start messing around with stuff like this, it's to kind of remove that sense of truth from things.
Yes.
And when you do that, you can then rewrite history, right? Like you said, rewrite history and rewrite societies, whatever you want it to be. And that's what's terrifying.
And forgive me for quoting somebody but not naming them, because I can't remember exactly who did say this, but that tyranny is where everybody lies to each other. Yeah. You know, if the police knock on your door and say somebody with a penis and testicles is a woman, and you apologise and say you agree, then you're all just lying to each other because none of you believe it.
Yeah, absolutely. But these woke scientists, they went even a step further, that they should stop using survival of the fittest because it discriminates against those with disabilities. How ridiculous!
But hang on. How long has it been since she is fit referred to physical prowess? Right? Surely it's a sexual attraction thing.
No, survival of the fittest.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but the word fit is not associated with running anymore, is it?
Well,
no, but that's the point. This also connected. It's fitness. It's actually it's to do with fitness of the species and its ability to kind of like procreate and all the rest of it. And you can't use that anymore because that's offensive.
Yeah.
Under this kind of new little like list that they've compiled, this group of scientists. I will point out that they are Canadian, so we do have to give them some leeway because they are Canadian at the end of the day. But yeah,
do you know Canada's had a black prime minister?
I was waiting for that.
But funny enough, talking of disabilities, I was watching Warwick Davis speak at the Oxford Union. You know, the chap who played one of the Ewoks in Star Wars and other people, and he basically said, "Do you know, as somebody who has a disability, my parents just brought me up to do whatever." And he said, and obviously he told it as an amusing joke, but he used to do the long jump at school. Now, obviously, from his point of view, you know, he didn't make it as far as the sand, and that was a joke he made. But at the same time, nobody tapped him on the head and said, "Oh no, you can't do this, you can't do that." They said, "Let's get out there and see what you can do." And to be fair, the man has made an absolute fortune.
Oh yeah. It's always the same with these kind of things. It's the kind of infantilizing, and it's kind of we've got to wrap everybody in cotton wool, and you know no one's allowed to like say anything offensive or anything like that. And I'm like, society can't keep going down this path because I think it's really unfair to kind of future generations. So when they kind of leave university and come into the real world, it's going to hit them like a brick wall in a really nasty way.
How many brick walls have hit you?
I look like this, quite a few.
I mean, I think that is the concern, isn't it? When you mollycoddle people to that extent. I mean, look, I accept that everybody, when they're in school, feels protected because it is a very safe environment. But when you're talking
I disagree. Do you know, they were the scariest years of my life.
Yeah, but
they were the scariest years of my life. Because you know who won't play this silly game? Children.
Yeah, but you...
They'll just say whatever they think.
Yeah, that's
They won't play the silly game.
Yeah, but the reason you didn't feel safe in school is because you're from Swinton. It wasn't safe.
That's the man from Lee.
Did you actually go to Harrop Fold off education?
No, I didn't go to Harrop Fold. No, I didn't. I went to Moorside High School.
Oh, that's another excellent education.
It's better than Harrop Fold.
Well, can you imagine as well?
I'm not being funny. I've been to the toilet and produced stuff better than Harrop Fold.
Can you imagine as well how offensive it would be to a woman who scientifically can't have children and then they're getting called an egg-producing person.
Yeah, they can be quite upsetting,
you know, because with the trans issue, they must be told psychologically from the NHS when they get it on the NHS that, you know, scientifically, you can't have children, you won't have periods and that kind of thing when you become a woman. But when you are a woman and you're getting called an egg carrying person, and then scientifically they can't have children when they are actually scientifically a woman. It's offensive. It's horrible.
Let me say this very quickly about sexism. So, you know, I always mention that my mother died a couple of years ago. Do you know what we said on the headstone? Right, we didn't do mummy, gran, all that sort of thing, because nobody ever says that about a bloke, do they? Right, they never go like, daddy, dad. So we just said that she was a Eucharistic minister, right, and literally listed what her contribution had been in life, rather than just always assume that the only thing that you care about with women is that they're a mum and an egg-producing person.
Yeah, and it's so offensive to women. Going back to that, I have been called daddy and I haven't got kids. No. But it's just offensive to women. It really is. Yeah. And if this is true, you know, it's absolutely ridiculous.
OK, is it true that woke scientists have said people should refer to women as egg-producing people? True or false?
Sadly.
It's probably true, but I'm not going to clap it if it is.
Because he's had the clap before.
Hey. Oh, God, what
it is absolutely true! Elvis!
Well, since my baby left me, I found a new place to dwell. It's down at the end of Lonely Street, a Heartbreak Hotel. Well, I'll be so lonely, baby. I'll be so lonely. I'll be so lonely I could die. Yeah, OK. Peter's team has got a massive, even more massive, 17,600 points. Lacey, however, has shot ahead again. 23,850 points.
Well done, Elvis!
Thank you very much, baby.
Well, this guy wasn't elected in a general election when he first came in as Prime Minister. He's just like Rishi Sunak, but there isn't a war at the moment. So I've been out and about in Westminster asking people if there should be a general election right now. Should there be a general election?
What we've got, we have to live with.
But we elected Boris, then Liz came in, and then Rishi came in.
No, but Boris, but it doesn't mean to say he's going to be there 5 years. He could have died, or he could have been ill. But he was ill, wasn't he?
But he didn't die. No, I mean, politically he died. Are you a bit annoyed that we've got an unelected Prime Minister?
Very. Very annoyed. Not happy at all.
Which way would you vote if there was an election?
The Christian People's Alliance Party, whose rosette I'm wearing and of which I'm a member, and I did stand for them at the local elections in South Hertfordshire.
I know Christian People's Alliance, they are Christian kind of, but the nation is gone woke. So if you mention Jesus, they call you something else, they call you bigot. Anything truth, people don't want the truth these days, they like a lie. They like different narratives. Christian People's Alliance are the ones.
Should there be a general election?
Any time you like, yep.
And will Labour win it?
By a street.
And is it good that we have an unelected government?
Well, we don't have an unelected government. We have an unelected Prime Minister, don't we? A succession of them. So that's not good, no.
I mean, the big advantage of Rishi Sunak being Prime Minister is that he won't conspire to bring down the government anymore.
No, well, the rest of his colleagues will conspire to do that anyway. He doesn't need to. They'll do it for him.
Are the Conservatives now just a shambles?
They're a complete shambles, and of course it's a country that's suffering as a result of it.
We've got to activate ourselves, because I think the one thing these elitists don't like, or they can't handle, is when people like us start going out on the streets.
Are you worried about having an unelected government?
Well, not unelected government. The government was elected in, but the way they choose their leader is not fit for purpose today. And we feel that we've been left behind whilst the party suits itself and not the country.
Which way would you vote if there was a general election?
Not Tory.
Anyone but the Tories?
Yes.
What about Nigel Farage?
No.
What about Keir Starmer?
Nah.
What about the Liberal Democrat bloke, whoever it is this week?
Well, it's a bit rude to not say his name. He said Nigel Farage, but he don't say Liberal Democrat. That's a bit unfair. Come on, where's your empire?
I can't remember his name right now. It's Sir somebody or other.
Come on, you're the reporter.
I can't remember his name. Right, we've got to cut this. Can't do this anymore. I can't remember the Liberal Democrat leader's name. I've been defeated by a bald man in a backpack who was only here to show his daughters round Westminster. What a disaster.
That was The Woke That Was. Continues after the break. Welcome back to That Was the Woke That Was.
Well, the BBC is 100 years old, so I've been out and about asking people whether we should abolish the licence fee and stop sending these people an absolute truckload of money. YouTube star Maya Toosey, should the BBC be reformed?
Reformed, abolished, destroyed, that's not going to change anything because the new media is destroying the BBC and the mainstream media. Of course, there's absolutely no point in having an old school model. It's an analog world that's trying to live in the digital era, and it has to go. And there's no, if these idiots are saying that, you know, we are talented, our content is amazing, well, if it's so good, the demand is there. People will pay for it, either with adverts or through subscription.
So there should be more advertising in TV.
Okay, why?
They're entertaining. It's more entertaining often than the programmes.
Oh, come on, that's a bit cheeky. You're saying the BBC programmes are less interesting than the adverts on Channel 4?
It's been around a long time and it's meant to be reasonably impartial, but...
Is it impartial, though?
No.
How do we deal with that problem?
I don't know, you change the rules or something, but, you know, there are some people at the BBC who don't behave in the way they should.
Do you think it's important to retain the licence fee, or should we consign it to the history books?
I think, we need to get rid of that.
Do you think that now it's time to change the funding model? The licence fee's been around for quite a long time.
Under quite a bit of pressure. I think it should be just discretionary. You know, for those people that want to use it, then fair enough. But I think for a lot of people, probably it's time for that, I would have thought.
It's the time to abolish the licence fee. What are you going to replace it with?
I don't know, a subscription model?
You're probably not going to get the same quality of high-level programming, as would be my guess. Many people watch the BBC partly because they don't get the advertising. I don't listen to some radio stations because I get fed up with the advertising.
If more people at the BBC were like you, it would definitely survive for another 100 years.
You think so? Well, I just been hired, and I hope they don't get rid of me after this interview. But I just want to say, I've got just a cucumber that I was about to eat when you stopped me.
Okay, we'll eat your cucumber. There we go. Can I have a bite of your cucumber? Can I bite?
Yes, you can. You know, this is all about being open-minded, guys, and sharing is caring.
They don't realise that things have moved on. You know, you can have amazing new shows like That Was the Woke That Was.
Do you think the BBC is a waste of money?
I don't think it's a waste of money. I think maybe you should just change to a subscription model. I mean, how else are they going to fund things like this egg over here?
The egg looks great. Let's get a view. Let's get a view of the egg.
Paper mache.
So the BBC licence fee is the goose that laid the golden egg. And always remember, that's going to be served for Gary Lineker's Christmas dinner. Ugh, horrendous. All on Match of the Day. Well, we've had some BBC journalists who've admitted the funding mechanism needs to change, but none of them have told me about the BBC canteen. So it's time to have a bit of food. Turkey Twizzler and chips. Yum, yum. The University of Kent, true. The University, it always is true though, isn't it? Let's be honest. The University of Kent has told students to stop using the term Christian name because it only relates to Christians.
Do you know, straight away I thought, that's a bit posh, isn't it? What's your Christian name?
Yeah. It's like, what's your Sunday name?
Yeah.
That was another one.
It's a little bit posh and old-fashioned.
Yeah.
You just say first name now anyway, don't you? I mean, it is.
Yeah, but hang on. It might not be your first name, because remember, Kim Jong-un, his family name is Kim, and Jong-un is his given name.
Yeah. So this was one of the things within this story, is it's not just for the Christian name, it's also surname, because that comes from sire name, and apparently you shouldn't use that because some people don't have fathers and all the rest of it. So this is...
No, everyone has a dad.
Yeah, everyone, but you know what I mean? Like they
some are better than others, let's be honest.
Yeah, but... so this is like, it's quite, again, it's one of these small... My thing with this story is, it's these small little things that we're like, oh, what's the point? But again, it's one little thing, and then another, and then another, and then another. And then you suddenly realise that you've rewrote so much of society that you can't turn it around anymore. Yeah. So that's why when everyone always says, oh, why do you care about this stuff? It's because you have to care about it now so that you stop it getting even worse further down the line.
I mean, look, I understand Christian name obviously relates to baptism. That's the reason they give it. But look, you know, if you want a Christian name or a Jewish name or a Muslim name, shouldn't you just get on with it? I mean, look, at the end of the day, Danielle, you don't take your husband's name professionally, but that's a matter of choice for you, isn't it?
Yeah, and a matter of keeping my identity with the career that I built up when I wasn't. I think,
no, not being funny.
Let's be honest.
The name Danielle Nicholls doesn't stop the traffic in Beijing. I must keep the brand.
No, but it was that. It's because I did it on my own, with my own name. And I wanted to take Holden because I wanted to have the same name as my children. But professionally, I saw the two as quite.
Oh, so if you get your bank card.
My bank card says Holden, yeah. And my passport says Holden.
So has the University of Kent told students to stop using the term Christian name?
They have.
True.
It is absolutely true. OK, so that's the end of the show. And before I go off to impersonate Jedward's dad, we need the final scores from Elvis Schmelvis. Take it away, Elvis.
When no one else can understand me, when everything I do is wrong, you give me love and consolation.
Come on.
You give me strength to carry on, and you're always there to lend a hand in everything I do. That's the wonder of you. Are you ready? Whoa, whoa, whoa. And when you smile, the world is brighter. You touch my hand and I'm a king. Your kiss to me is worth a fortune. Your love for me is everything. I guess I'll never know the reason why you love me as you do. That's the wonder of you.
So come on, Elvis. Who was the winner? Who was the winner?
The winner with 4,868 points is Lacey's team.
Yay! Until next week, goodbye. Woo!